Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Premier League review on Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzy, and I'm your host for today's show. What a weekend it was in match week 10, especially if you're a Liverpool fan. Newcastle defeated Arsenal 1-0 at St James's Park, and a surprise result as Bournemouth defeated Man City 2-1 at the Vitality Stadium. It's becoming a bit of a fortress against the big teams, having beaten Arsenal in recent weeks as well. And Liverpool did their job and got the crucial win against Brighton, which ended 2-1. So there's a lot to discuss today, especially at the top, but also across the table. So let's begin with the first game, and that is Liverpool versus Brighton. Liverpool somehow got the dub in this match. It didn't take long uh, for Brighton to open the score sheet, but for the huge parts of the game, it didn't look like Liverpool were going to get the win as they were trailing for most of the match. Brighton opened the scoreline with a fantastic strike from Turkish international Kadioglu. He struck the ball very sweetly with his weak foot, posting in. Great finish from the winger. Brighton did have opportunities to extend the lead through Rutte and Kadioglu, but they were unable to finish their chances. Liverpool had to make a substitution at the back as it seemed that Konate had picked up a shoulder injury, but we know it wasn't as bad as we first feared. And in fact, he actually played in tonight's Champions League fixture against Bayer Leverkusen. But the man that took his place was Joe Gomez, and he was fantastic in the second half. And he almost topped it off with a goal himself, as he's an unmarked player in the box from a set piece. Unfortunately, he's unable to put real power into that finish. But Liverpool finally equalised in the 70th minute as Cody Gakpo applies a cross shot that ends up finding the back of the net. Deliberately done or not, doesn't matter. He equaled the scoreline and gave Liverpool the platform to go on and get another, and that's exactly what they did. Mohamed Salah drives with the ball from the right-hand side. He cuts in and smashes the ball with real finesse into the top corner. What a finish from the Egyptian King. A trademark finish from Salah, and that goal helped break another record as he's now scored 164 goals and surpasses Robbie Fowler as the 8th all-time Premier League goal scorer. He's now only 12 goals away to beat Thierry Henry's record. Mohamed Salah, in my opinion, is truly disrespected in the Premier League. What he has produced over the 8 or 9 years or so that he has been playing for Liverpool has been simply remarkable, but he never seems to get his flowers. But on this channel, he does. And for me, he's the best winger in Premier League history. For me, it's no debate. Argue amongst yourselves. But in the end, that strike helped clinch the winner for the Reds, and that win secured the top spot once again. And the lead has now been extended to 2 points. On to the next fixture. Newcastle versus Arsenal. Newcastle finally end the winless streak, and it's against a tough opponent in Arsenal, who are drifting further away from top spot as we speak. But in terms of the goal, it didn't take long for Anthony Gordon to whip in a great cross from the right-hand side, pinpoint accurate, towards Isaac, and he guides the header into the corner to give the Tsunami the lead. And this goal happened in the 12th minute, and it certainly took Arsenal by surprise. Arsenal, on the other hand, tried to apply pressure, and they tried to get the equaliser and gave it a good go. Declan Rice was very close to scoring with his shot in the second half. The shot ended up bobbling towards the goal, but it completely missed the target. And then he had another chance very late on in the game as Saka whips in across from the right-hand side. Declan Rice is towards the near post, applies the header, but unfortunately misses the target again. And that was a huge opportunity to give Arsenal a chance of claiming at least a point. But look, well done to Newcastle for finally getting a win on the board. They have now moved up to 11th in the table. For Arsenal, some fans have already changed their tune, which wouldn't be a huge surprise as the fan base tend to be a bit flip-flop with regards to their opinions on a weekly basis, especially if you follow a lot of Arsenal fans on social media. But this time around, Some have asked for Arteta to be sacked, and they've already thrown the white towel saying that the title race is over. As a neutral, I don't think that's the case. Yes, Arsenal have dropped to 5th in the league and are 7 points behind, but there's a lot of games still to be played. A lot can change, so you've got to stay positive and take each game as it comes. On to the next fixture. Bournemouth versus Man City. Bournemouth stunned Arsenal a couple of weeks ago, and they've done it again as they defeat the current champions Man City 2-1 at the Vitality Stadium. Semenyo opens the scoreline with a smart close-range finish. Great play from Kerkez on that left side. And then Kerkez becomes provider yet again as he whips in a great cross from the left channel. Evanilson slides in and makes that early contact on the ball to guide the finish before Ellison could even react. Nice finish from the striker. And the Cherries were 2-0 up. Man City did get a consolation goal through Gvardiol with a leaping header. Nice delivery from Gundogan on the right side. City tried to apply the pressure to get that equaliser, with Haaland missing a huge chance from close range. And unfortunately for him, he's unable to find the net. And the victory goes to Bournemouth, who played really well and for me deserved the win. Man City aren't as invincible as people assume. They will drop points this season, and it makes the title race more exciting. On to the next fixture. Nottingham Forest versus West Ham. What a pleasant surprise this result was, as Nottingham Forest's victory has pushed them up to 3rd place in the league, which is remarkable. So let's talk about the key moments of the game. Forest opened the scoreline with a fantastic header from Chris Wood. He's been on fire this season. That's his 8th goal of the season. Only 3 behind Haaland, just to put into perspective. Callum Hudson-Odoi makes it 2-0 with his strike from outside of the box. Initially, I thought the keeper made a complete hash of it as he missed the ball. And I feel like he should have saved it. But having a look at the replay, it looked like it took a slight deflection on the way in. But the 3rd goal, wow. What a strike from Ola Aina. He said after the game he was absolutely knackered and just went for it as he cruised into the middle of the box. But as a spectator, it didn't appear that way, and it was a fantastic strike right in the top corner, unstoppable, and that makes it 3 back-to-back wins for Forest, and they're now in 3rd place. So well done to them, and credit to Nuno Santos. He's doing a fantastic job and has definitely surpassed anyone's expectations so far this season. On to the next fixture. Tottenham versus Aston Villa. Now, some have labelled Tottenham as the comeback kings after this win. I think that's going a bit too overboard, but they managed to get the 4-1 win against Villa, who were leading in the first half, and it was Morgan Rogers who opened the scoreline for Villa. An error from Spurs in terms of their defensive setup in the corner kick, and Morgan scores from close range. But Spurs respond in the second half through Brennan Johnson. Great cross from Heung-min Son from the left side. He hits it in towards the danger zone, and Johnson gets ahead of his own player, Solanke, to make sure he scores and hits the back of the net. But Solanke does eventually get on the score sheet with a lovely dinked finish, and then he makes it 3-0 with a close range finish. Great assist from Richarlison on the left side. And then to top it off, Maddison joins the party and hits a fantastic free kick in the last second of the game to make it 4-1. What a response from Spurs. They do have the quality in the squad, but as a collective, they just struggle with consistency. If they can address this going forward, for me, they are strong contenders for the top 4. Now, in terms of other games, on paper, would have been regarded as a big fixture, but that's not how it ended up. The game ended up as a draw, and for me, wasn't a huge surprise. Ruud van Nistelrooy was the current interim manager after Ten Hag was sacked, but we now know that they have appointed Sporting's Ruben Amorim, who we'll discuss very shortly. But in terms of the game, United were awarded a penalty after Højlund was fouled by Sanchez. Bruno Fernandes steps up and slots it in calmly into the corner to give United the lead. But the goal was cancelled out by Caicedo, who scores a fantastic volley into the bottom corner to give Chelsea the equaliser. A bit of a boring game, to be honest, and a draw was probably a fair result. Now, in terms of the breaking news from the last few days, and that is Manchester United have appointed sporting manager Ruben Amorim as their new manager. Now, my first thoughts on the appointment, I think it's a good appointment from the club in terms of his profile and what he brings in terms of his philosophy and his credentials. But at the same time, it's a huge risk, and I'll explain why. Amorim's style of play is possession football, and he normally sets his team up in a 3-4-2-1 formation. And looking at the current United squad, they do not have the personnel to play that style of football, and they don't have the players to play in that formation. So going forward, you would assume that there needs to be another few hundred million required, because the squad does need a lot of reinvestment, and he's been appointed for 2.5 years. But if I'm being honest, I think that's more to protect United's investment, where if things don't go to plan, they don't have to pay a hefty compensation package like they have done previously with other managers. So that's probably why they've given him a 2.5 year contract, because this transformation won't take 2.5 years. And if they truly believe that this man is the man to take them forward, he needs plenty of time, and he will need not 1 or 2 seasons. He will need years to transform this team into title contenders. For me, he's not going to just come here and with a click of a finger transform things, because the squad is average. Let's be honest. Whether you're a United fan or not, it is an average squad. It's not that these players are just underperforming against their previous managers. They're just not good enough to compete at the highest level. And for me, it's a virtually impossible job for anyone to come in and just transform that team with a click of a finger. So right now, as a team, they are way off it. And they will need to possibly regard this season as a write-off. There shouldn't be any huge expectations in terms of where they finish. As long as it's in a respectful position in the top half, you have to just accept that. And then going forward next summer, Ruben Amorim is given the funds to bring on the players that he believes will transform this team. And then from there on next season, then the expectations can be set up. So for me, it comes from the owners. They have to make sure that there aren't any huge expectations of the team to be successful this season. And they need to back their man, let's be honest, because the 3-4-2-1 formation, that requires specialist players like wing backs. I just finished watching Liverpool versus Bayer Leverkusen. They've got Grimaldo and Frimpong. Those are the type of profile players they need. That are specialist wing back players. Last season, I think they both combined 26 goals and 27 assists, which is a crazy stat. So that's the kind of profile that they're probably looking for next year. But at the same time, they probably need some number 10s because of the formation with two advanced midfielders. They're not wingers, they're more number 10s, and they need a lethal striker up top. So yeah, they will need a lot of addressing in terms of their squad. So it's not going to be an easy job for the new manager, but he needs to be given time. If not, it's a cycle. It's going to be where you have a manager for 2-3 years, sack him again, and then back to square one. So no. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think Ruben Amorim is the right appointment for Manchester United? Drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts. Now, in other games, Ipswich Town versus Leicester City. Leicester managed to get a crucial equaliser in the last minute of the game to walk away with a point. Ipswich Town opened the account with a sublime finish from Davis, a left-footed half volley inside the box, and he certainly made that look easy. Turning point of the game has to be Calvin Phillips' red card on his challenge with Ricardo Pereira. And I have to be honest, I think that was an awful decision from the ref. That was never a sending off. Phillips hardly made any contact on Pereira and looked like he actually tried to pull out the tackle. So poor decision there from the referee. Leicester managed to grab the equaliser in the 94th minute. They've been getting a lot of last-minute winners in recent weeks. Great 1-2 between Vardy and Ayew, who went through on goal and slotted it calmly into the corner to make it 1-1. Next fixture, Southampton versus Everton. Southampton managed to secure their first win of the season, and it was courtesy of an Adam Armstrong finish. The goal itself took place very late in the game, in the 85th minute. Sugawara squares it towards the striker, who goes towards the ball and hits a first-time shot from a squared angle and finds the back of the net. Russell Martin and his coaching staff are jumping for joy, just like the supporters are in the stadium. A nice moment for the club, who have found it very difficult in the Premier League so far this season. But that's 3 points on the board, and they need to use this win as a springboard to look up and climb up that table. Next fixture, Wolves versus Crystal Palace. What a dramatic end to this game, as it ended 2-2 between the two sides. Palace opened the scoreline with a nice finish from Chalobah, a very tight angle, but he managed to get that finish in the end. But moments later, he was at fault for Wolves' equaliser, as the long ball is pinned up top. Chalobah completely misses it. Cunha takes advantage, lays it off to Strand Larsen, who applies the routine finish to make it 1-1. But then Wolves kept that momentum going and extended their lead. Great play from Cunha once again, who starts the attack. Hwang Hee-chan squares it to João Gomez, who hits this shot first time and manages to find the back of the net. Wolves then concede the lead 5 minutes later as Kamada hits a fantastic corner kick. Gehi is unmarked in that near post and he scores from close range. A valuable point for both teams, especially for Palace, who were trailing towards the end. But unfortunately, they'll be without their star player in Eze for the next couple of games, as he's picked up an injury that rules him out for a month. So a huge blow for the Eagles there. And the final fixture, and it was a Monday night fixture, ended with Fulham defeating Brentford 2-1 at Craven Cottage. But it was Brentford who opened the scoreline, with Janart hitting a thunderbolt right into the top corner from 25 yards out. What a strike from the midfielder. But then Fulham got the equaliser, and boy, was that equaliser something else. I'm not quite so sure how to describe it, but the best way I can describe it was kind of like a spinning back heel of sorts from Harry Wilson that ends up lobbing Flecken and into the back of the net. Along with that finish, Harry Wilson stole the show as he scores the winning goal in the last minute of the game with a diving header. And that victory moves Fulham up to ninth position in the league table. So that is the match week 10 review. Now, before we proceed, it's only right that we confirm who is our FPL manager of the week, and that goes to a familiar name to the channel, and that is Anish Dogger. So big up to Anish. He's come on the channel a few times over the years. His team is called Aiming for Top Slot. I like that name there. And he managed to attain 68 points. So well done to Anish. That is a good scoreline for the match. It wasn't a very high scoring one, so he did well to attain that score. I didn't do so well. I got a score of 34 points, which is literally half of Anish's score there. So I've got a lot of work to do, to say the least. I'm currently 72nd in the league, so I'm dropping down, and Anish is catching me up. So yeah, I have a lot of work to do. But what we'll do now is we'll have a quick look at the top 10 of our FPL and see if there's been any changes in the ranking. So there you go. Let's make this a little bit bigger for you guys. There we go. So top place, Melissa remains, and her team is the normal one. She's in top spot. She managed to get 43 points as well this week. In second, Kader Musit has moved up with a good match week himself. Richard Amponsa, big up to Rich, has dropped to third position. Jake Harrison has dropped to fourth. Godwin has remained in fifth place. Ellie Clark has moved up to sixth. Chris Barnes has moved up to seventh. Jason has moved up to eighth. Hindi Abda has dropped to ninth place. And Leif Henna has moved up to 10th position. So that is the top 10. So big up to you guys completing the top 10 ranking there. Well done to you. Now, what we'll do before we close the show, we will preview the match week 11 fixtures, and I'll give you a quick prediction of what I think the score line will be. So let's begin here. So the first fixture, and it's not midday kickoff, it is a 3 p.m. kickoff, and it is between Brentford and Bournemouth. So Bournemouth on a roll right now in terms of getting victories. Brentford, unfortunately, they lost against Fulham in their away tie. Interesting. I think Bournemouth are very strong at home, but away from home, not so sure. I'm going to say this is a draw. I'm going to go for a 1-1 result. Crystal Palace versus Fulham. I'm going to give it as an home advantage. I think Palace will get a 2-1 result for that fixture. West Ham versus Everton. West Ham have not been in great form, and the manager, Lopetegui, is under fire in terms of his role as the manager of the club. I don't think he has met expectations of the fans due to the recruitment that they made in the summer. And I feel like his days are numbered. But we'll see in terms of what happens with him. But in terms of this fixture, I'll give it to the Hammers. I don't think Everton are in good form, so I will give it as a 1-0 victory for the Hammers. Wolves versus Southampton. Southampton obviously just claimed their first win of the season. Wolves have been doing decent in terms of their way of playing, I'd say, but they just haven't been able to attain the points. I believe this will be a win for Wolves, and I'm going to give it as a 2-0 victory. Brighton versus Man City. Liverpool played back-to-back games with Brighton and won both on both occasions. But what will happen in this fixture? Man City lost last week to Bournemouth. I don't know the final score of today. I think it was 4-1. Let me just confirm with you guys as I'm online, as we're doing this live. So yeah, 4-1 it ended between Sporting Lisbon and City. So City are not in good form at all. So I'm actually going for a draw. I think this result will end as a 1-1 result. Liverpool playing at a very unusual time of 8 p.m. UK time on a Saturday. We don't really get 8 p.m. kickoffs, but hey, I'm all for it. I will be doing a live watch along for this, so please make sure to tune in for that. In terms of this game, Villa got smashed by Tottenham last week, so I don't think they're in good rich vein of form. So I'm going for a 3-1 result for the Reds. And in terms of the Sunday fixtures, we've got quite a few lined up there. So Manchester United versus Leicester. Ruben Amorim won't be starting his position this week. He will start his role after the international break. So it will still be Ruben Van Nistelrooy for this fixture. I think this will be a 1-0 win for Manchester United. Nottingham Forest versus Newcastle. This is actually a very good game. Newcastle just got their first win after having a very poor few weeks. Haven't been able to attain any points. Nottingham Forest are on a high right now. So I'm actually going to go for Forest. I think Forest will win 2-1 in this fixture. Spurs versus Ipswich Town. Big question is what Spurs team will turn up. Will it be the one against Villa? Or will it be the one that, that has dropped points in the last few weeks? I think it will be the one that played against Villa. So I'm going to go for a 3-0 victory for Spurs. And it's a London derby here. Chelsea versus Arsenal. It'll be an interesting encounter. I'm going to go for a draw. I think it'll be a 2-2 draw. I think this game will have lots of goals. Don't think it'll be a clear winner. So I'm going for a 2-2 draw. Feel free to drop your comments and let me know your score predictions. And yeah, let's see what happens in match week 11. And that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. In terms of upcoming Premier League review matches, there'll be another one next week. It'll be next Monday. And unfortunately, after that, it's the international break once again. So we'll have a slight layoff. But in terms of upcoming content on the channel, I'll be doing a show in literally half an hour, as I'll be doing a match reaction of tonight's Champions League game between Liverpool and Bayer Leverkusen. It's a calling show, so if you'd like to come on, feel free to hit that link and jump on the show. I'll be doing an FC25 show tomorrow as I continue my Liverpool career mode. And on Thursday, I'll be doing a match preview of Liverpool versus Aston Villa, which we just covered for match week 11. So lots of shows coming this way. So make sure you hit that notification bell so you know what time I'm going live. Also, follow me on social media. You can follow me at OZZWRLD on Instagram for all the latest updates. And that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care, stay safe, and I hope to see you all very, very soon. Goodbye.